So if you're looking for a mortgage, you would come to me. I can help you out in any aspect of that. Anything retail, Michelle is going to be able to help you out. She's very knowledgeable. She knows what she's talking about. So today we're going to be talking about safe banking for seniors. Does anybody want to raise their hand or just kind of give me a little synopsis of what they think safe banking means in this day and age? Or can you give me some examples of what you think safe banking might be to you guys?
Maybe what it would mean to you?
Well, there's a lot of phishing with the mailboxes or the stealing checks.
Mhm.
And let's say I made a check for $100 and suddenly somebody change it to 10,000. Would the bank be alert to that? Would they notice something is off?
I would say yes. I'm sure Michelle can concur, but
Sure. So we'll go over some of that.
Okay.
We'll go over how to recognize scams and to build defenses together. So what you're referring to is mail theft.
Right.
And yes, the bank does monitor for it. And I'll talk to you to tell you what you can do also to recognize if that happens. So we'll touch on that, but that is a good point. It is very prevalent today, mail theft. Yeah.
But you might not know right away because you have to wait for that check to be clear. Right.
Right.
The bank has to process that check.
Right, so what's so important, I tell all customers, is you get your statement, and when you get your statement, review it, open it, look over every check carefully. And if you see anything suspicious or unauthorized, report that to the bank right away. There's a 30-day window to catch something like that. Yeah.
30-day window?
Mhm.
Okay.
perfect example, me and my fiance are getting married in May.
Yay.
Yeah, been together for 8 years now.
Oh, yes, it's about time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about time. I think it's time. So perfect example of this, we had to write a check to our venue for our second half of our deposit. So what we ended up doing was going to the bank. They gave us a check, and what happened was we were on the way down. So I was driving and she was passenger princess. So she wrote the check out and I signed it. So what ended up happening was the bank said something's not right here.
Mhm.
So they ended up returning all the money back to me within a day because they recognized the handwriting was different.
Wow.
So-
What bank was this?
This was PNC I used for that, just because that's where I've had money for a while. But you know, banks as a whole, especially us, you know, just to give you an example, everybody's looking out for you. Even that minute of a detail, you know, everybody's kind of got eyes on what's going on.
Mhm.
So, you know, as an industry, we want you guys to feel comfortable handling money, right? That's, you know, you entrust us with your money, and we want to make sure that that trust, you know, stays, and that you guys, you know, continue to do business with us as, of course, that's an industry. So we're gonna jump right into it. What we're gonna talk about, what a scam is, I think you guys probably pretty much know what that is. Why scams actually work. Types of scams, which is going to be interesting. This might open up your perspective a little bit. Warning signs of a scam and building the scam defenses, right? Because we don't want people taking our money. Pretty simple, right? So what is a scam, right? Do you want to talk about it, Michelle?
Yeah, so, what is a scam? A scam is any attempt to extort money or exploit you financially. Basically, scam artists, they're very clever at what they do. They're like salespeople. So that's a simple one. What is a scam? Any goal is their goal is to extort your money and to get information from you. Once they do get your money, there's very little recourse. It's very hard to get your money back. So today what we're going to do is we're going to give you the tools to recognize possible scams, and we're going to stop that. We're not going to allow this to happen to us. We're going to build defenses together.
Does anybody, before we start jumping into it, does anybody want to give me an example of a scam that they've actually maybe been involved in, or
A friend or a neighbor.
or neighbor,
Yeah,
whoever?
it happened in 2011 or 12. And I mailed, because my husband was on rehab on Shelbyville. So I made out the check for the life insurance in those times. And I mailed it at the Shelbyville, which is the rehab center. So then for a while, the check, I said it didn't clear, but then we got a letter from MetLife that they never received the check. So then I went to the bank, and the bottom line, what they did is they had canceled the,
They
you know, how
washed
much.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
but they never, unfortunately, they never really were able to deposit it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's a scam.
Right,
Right?
exactly, excellent point. Yeah, that's check fraud, and that is a scam, that's a good point, and I think it's very common today, what
Now,
you're.
this was 2000. I
Right.
know what happened
But you
lately.
did the right thing, you worked with your bank.
Right,
That's what the bank is here to do. We're trained to recognize this. We're very skilled at this. I've been doing this for many years, and we're here to help you. So if you see something like that, report it and share the information. It's good to talk about.
another thing that happened, which is strange, the doctor does not take Zelle or anything, it was a Zoom meeting, you know, it was $160. So I always mail the check, not outside, I mail it inside the post office.
Mhm.
Well, she never received that check, so I kept on checking with the Chase. So finally, I canceled the check and I issued another check. Now she got the check, but what happened to this other check that got lost? So it's canceled. So if anybody wants to do anything,
Yeah.
that means the bank is not gonna pay, right? Because
Right.
it's stopped. What do you
Mhm.
call it? Stop.
Stop
Stop
payment.
the check.
That's what happened to me too. A few times, the checks take a long time to reach the person.
Right,
I keep calling them, did you receive it? No, we didn't receive it. So I had to call the bank to
mhm,
put a stop on it.
yeah.
So I'm wondering like her, what
That's the
happened to
right,
that
that
check?
is
Yeah, what
excellent,
happened?
that's the right
They
course of
cannot-
action,
they
you wanna
cannot
put a
do it
stop.
Because it stopped.
But the thing is, they also have your name and the check number
Mm.
and the routing in a way.
Talk to your bank and see if they can help you with online banking. There are other options that are a little bit safer than sending checks out today in the mail. So we
But
do
the stupid
offer other
doctor
ways for
doesn't
you to
take
pay
it.
your bills,
She doesn't do Zelle. I can do Zelle very easily. Or
right,
the other one, what's the other
PayPal?
one? I can't think.
right.
Well, but anyway, that was not only me, that see, someone else.
There's a big crime now where they're stealing your phone on these e-bikes. They just grab your phone. From what I understand, they have a hacker that
Mhm,
get all your financial and personal information,
mhm.
all right? And there's been stories how they spend your hard-earned money on luxury things for their country or wherever.
Yeah,
What is the bank doing to protect that?
I'm not familiar with the scam you're talking about, stealing your actual phone, but I know they can
But that your
gain access to your information. So we'll talk about some ways you can protect yourself and limit the information that you share with people, especially on social media and other platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, great stories, guys. This is what
Yeah.
it's all about, organic conversation like that right here. So we'll jump into a little bit more. What does a scammer look like, right? Master of persuasion, plausible story, ultimate salesperson, like Michelle said earlier, with a tempting offer, right? Easily pinpoints a victim's vulnerabilities. They try to gain your trust really quick, and they show no mercy at all. One we'll talk about that's pretty common, and Michelle's going to share a story with a staff member. These hackers now have the ability to use AI or artificial intelligence to mimic your family members' voices. So what they do is they call up your number on a familiar line. They can actually duplicate that family member's line. They call up you, and it sounds like your loved one, and it's always somebody in a panic. So, for example, Michelle's staff member, it was her son.
Yes. So can I share the story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was the day before Thanksgiving, and her husband received a phone call at home, and he picked it up and he said, "Hi, this is Dad, this is me, your son." And his voice sounded very nasally, so he couldn't really hear him that clearly. It sounded like he was congested. And he said, "Dad, the reason you can't hear me very well is I got in a car accident and I broke my nose, but I'm in trouble." Okay, so he thought he was talking to his son, and the son told him he was in a car accident and he hurt his nose, and that's why he sounded the way he did. And he said, "Dad, I need money, I'm in trouble. I was in an accident and I hit a pregnant lady and I was under the influence of alcohol. Please, you gotta help me." 5 minutes later, there was another call followed by that call, and it was a person perpetrating to be an attorney. And he said, Mr. So-and-so, I need you to send me this money, and we're gonna help get your son out of jail. We're holding him here. So right away, her husband believed the story, and he was on his way to the bank. And when he called his wife, when he got to the bank, he called his wife. She said, no, this is a scam. She called her son, and he picked up the phone, and he said, Mom, I'm fine, I'm at work.
Oh, wow.
So that's a perfect example
Right.
that always verify the caller is authentic. Call a family member. If you can't get in touch with that person who claims to be a nephew, a grandson, a son, and you can't get in touch with them, wait. Don't take immediate action.
Because you get emotional, you get
Right.
upset.
You get right, and you think they're in
Mhm.
trouble, and they insist on secrecy. He said, please don't tell Mom, because I don't want her to know the story. So
Mhm.
he was almost gonna send the money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's always a sense of urgency for you to act really quick, and that should be the
Right.
first red flag in your head.
Mhm.
Why does this person need me to do this so quick?
Right away,
What's
right.
going on?
Mhm.
So, and exactly like you said, they want you to act on emotion, and they want you to do it quick, because before you can think about it,
Right.
right, because then once you're like.
And
"I'm
once
not
the
ready
money
here."
is gone, it's gone, right? So they're gonna ask for different payment methods, probably one that can't be traced, such as a wire transfer, a Zelle payment, a gift card, or sometimes they'll even ask for Bitcoin or encrypted currency, something like that.
Cannot be transferred. Those cannot be
What-
transferred at all. They
From a,
can be traced to.
You can't recall it. Once
Gift
it's
cards
gone, it's gone.
especially.
Yeah,
yeah, a family member can scam you too.
a family member.
Because my husband's sister's son, he
Mhm,
scammed my husband,
mhm,
13,000.
Wow.
mm,
13,000. Said the same thing, that he hit a pregnant woman driving in New Jersey,
Oh,
and they're holding him and he need the money for bail.
Oh, okay,
And my husband went to the bank and gave it.
yeah.
And he made up with a lawyer too.
Mhm,
The lawyer was involved with it, with the guy, yeah.
right,
Yeah, so scary stuff, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we're, this is why we have seminars like this, to inform you guys of what's actually going on right
Right.
now in real life.
No, you mentioned before about Zelle. Does that mean that one is not that secure?
you can't get it back, right? Once you send a Zelle payment, you cannot recover the funds, right?
So it's
Sometimes,
not really that secure, I mean.
no, secure, yes, as long as you know the person you're sending the money to. So if you and I have an agreement that you owe me money for dinner last night, and I tell you that this is my Zelle account, and you send it to me, fine. But when you're dealing with people that you don't know, no.
That's why
What about
when you,
PayPal?
go ahead, I'm sorry.
What about it? Is that safe? Is it better?
PayPal, mhm.
Yeah.
They're all safe in the
Yeah.
fact that if you verify who you're sending the money to,
It's safe.
it's fine. Like I use Venmo a lot. So when even if I send it to my friends, they'll ask me to verify their phone number, and I'll punch it in, and then it'll let me send the money.
Mhm.
So, it's just another layer of protection, before you actually get a transaction in any of those aspects. So how do these people find you? This is just a tip of the iceberg. But they buy your contact information, right? You guys probably heard of the dark web before. They can get it off there. Online, social media, people put their information out there all the time on social media. So it's super easy to pick up your phone number, possibly your birthday, your name. It's out there for them just to find real
It's
quick, right?
interesting. I ask you all later, if you have time, if you have internet, just Google your name, see how much information is
Oh,
out
it's
there on you.
horrible. I cannot believe that,
All the information.
even when
is
my
there.
mother died in 2009,
All-
I don't know how to remove it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Okay, then,
information out
It's
there.
unbelievable.
Yeah. So we have to limit the information we share, and a lot of people will give too much information. We don't want to do that. We want to, the less you share, the better.
You know what we have now, well, we had it for a while. If I don't know the number, I don't answer. Let it go.
Perfect.
Let it go to voicemail.
I love
Yep.
that.
And
I
they
do too.
we talked about it for a few years here at the senior center. But one time, somebody, whoever it was, oh, grandma, I see your grandson. Well, I don't have a grandson.
You hang up. Yeah.
No, I was playing along because I don't have a grandson. I didn't even have a granddaughter then. So I said, oh, my memory is not so good. What high school you went to or college? He hung up.
Yep.
So they're very clever, but we're better. We're one step ahead of the game.
Because we have classes here, you know.
Yes.
they-
Right,
Yes,
right. This is
so
what
this
is all
says
about.
to acknowledge
Right,
what
yeah,
you're doing.
right.
Yep, so people can infiltrate groups you belong to, and believe it or not, people still go door to door. I know solar people are banging on my door all the time. But you don't know if they're actually legitimate or not. That's
They
the
come
problem.
with the pen and paper, right?
Oh, yeah, it drives me crazy.
Going
Go away.
back, when they go door to door, more or less, what's an idea, the reason they're knocking on your door?
Sales stuff
Yeah.
mostly.
Right.
Door to door is not as
As
common
common
as it used
today.
to be,
Right, right,
not at
right.
all.
What about by contact information?
That's like the dark
Online,
web kind of
yeah.
thing.
A dark web?
Yeah, so like that's the dark web is like a I don't even know how to explain it. It's like you can't really access it. It's really just for hackers.
Mhm.
And basically what they do is they scan websites with these AI tools and
That's
they
good,
build
yeah.
profiles and then they sell that information to people on the dark web.
Right,
they
and
use it.
people buy it.
Yeah, there's a lot of money to be made with your information. Ton of money. So yeah,
Somebody knocked on my door and it was from the Department of the census, because my kids didn't want it. So I was really afraid. The guy had all the information. I would not open the door.
Mhm.
So he said, well, I fought for your conscience, and he must have been a veteran. The poor guy was an older man. After I felt bad, but I did not open the door. I said, if you want to give the information, you know, I took a picture of his whatever, but you gotta be afraid today.
you can't
I don't
trust
think you're
anybody.
cautious enough. You
Right.
gotta, I don't know,
Mhm.
and this adds to the knowledge. you
Right.
know. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna talk anymore.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it's
fine.
this is all good stuff. I
Yeah.
want you guys to share
Share
it,
it,
you know,
yeah.
this is how we all learn. So scammers are skilled, right? They know what they're doing, right? They're not stupid.
Mhm.
And we already talked about this, right? They like to appeal to emotion, right? It's that let's act real quick, you know, let's pounce on them before I lose them, before they actually start thinking about what's actually happening. Don't take no for an answer, so they will insist.
Mhm.
And like insist on secrecy, like Michelle said, don't tell anybody. Let's keep it between us.
Mhm.
And they usually prey on people who are vulnerable.
I know this is a touchy area, but I just want to say a lot of times our seniors are vulnerable and they're targeted because scammers seem to believe that you have accumulated great wealth over the years. And a lot of times that's true. And they're hoping that you're isolated and you're not involved with community and loved ones. And that's what they're going for. They want people who are isolated, out of touch, and have a lot of money.
Yep. So how do we protect ourselves, right? So we're gonna go through a couple things and just to get you guys to understand what types of scams are out there. So we'll pull up a list here, right? So giveaways, winning a prize, lottery, free trips. Sweetheart, I don't know about that one. I'll have to see what that-
I know, I have a good story with that one.
Michelle is exposed to these all day because she's in retail and I'm more in the mortgage side, so I don't really see a lot of this, but she's an expert because she sees it all the time. So family imposter, government imposter, that's probably a big one. Tech support, phony charities, investment tips, too good to pass up. I know like in the past year, or actually 3 years now, when cryptocurrency was getting very big, that was something my generation was very big into. And I know a lot of people got scammed out of that in my age bracket. So scary stuff. And then people posing as a contractor. So Michelle, I'll let you start off with this one.
Okay, so giveaway scams. Again, it requires an immediate response. They're playing on your emotion and the hope that you're going to win something, some big payment. In order to get your money, they will tell you that you either have to pay taxes up front or administrative fees. So they'll either send you a check and then they'll ask for part of that money back for taxes. Or there are other ways. I have some information here that I could share on lottery scams. Before you leave, you can all take it with you. So when they send you a check in the mail, don't run to the bank with the check. Look at it. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. by the time you put that check in the bank, and just because it clears the bank doesn't mean the funds are good. So they'll ask you for part of that money back, you'll pay them that money back, and then a couple of weeks later, the check will be found to be a bogus check. And you're responsible for the money. Now, if you have a good banker or a good bank, they'll recognize the check and say this, and they'll note that this is, fraud. Do you want to add anything?
No, well, I just want to further,
Yeah.
okay.
No, just gonna say, let's say if they send you a check and you deposit it, aren't checks cleared like in 3 days or right
Exactly,
away?
that's
3
my
days?
point, yes. So regulations require us to make the funds available within 2 business days, 3 business days. Sometimes we could put an extended hold, but just because it's available to you doesn't mean the bank actually collected the money on it yet.
Let's
Yeah,
say if it were 5 days, the bank, I mean, you don't collect.
not
it.
necessarily, not
It's just like
necessarily.
3 days more or less.
Yeah, so we'll make the money available to you, but then if the check gets returned, maybe like 6 days later, the funds are gone, funds are lost.
I just wanted to further Michelle's
Yeah,
point about
thank you.
having a relationship with your banker. Whether that's us or whoever your bank is now, I'm sure you guys have a good relationship with them. Having that good relationship is so important. You know, if Michelle knows who you are and they know what your history looks like, that's important.
Mhm.
It's important that your bankers know who you are and they know what kind of transactions you have and what kind of lifestyle you live, because then, they can look for signs such as this one.
Mhm.
So we'll go on to the next one. So this is the sweetheart one.
Oh, yeah, the email, yes, I got one of those, 2 of them, that kept on sending pictures and it wasn't the
Pictures.
person. And the other one that was not, then, I don't know what I said, and then she said, well, I needed money, I said, no. So I put it on trash.
Exactly, so a lot of times I've had customers that they're on a dating website, and they get romantically involved with somebody online, and the person will share pictures, and then comes the plot. After the relationship evolves, they'll say something like, oh, I need money to get a plane ticket to come see you, can you send me money? And a lot of times people fall for this, so got to be very careful with that.
So family imposter, this sounds like what we talked about earlier.
Right.
Urgent call from a scammer posing as a family member, dear friend, family member calls, or caller serious trouble, money required immediately to solve problem, right? Keyword, immediately. Right, that's that sense of urgency, let's go, send me that money.
Mhm.
And again, secrecy, right, we already talked about this.
Right.
I think the biggest part about this I want to stress is the fact that AI is becoming such a large part of our
Scary.
life, whether we like it or not. That's just the way the world's going at this point. So it's important to recognize when stuff like this is happening, right? And it's evolving super quick. I've seen pictures online, especially on Facebook, of things that look really, really realistic, and it's not. I wish I had a picture to show you guys, but it's really scary.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's still hard to tell whether it's, a couple years ago, it was still in its baby phase, and you could be like, oh, this is fake. But
Mhm.
now it's evolved, and some of the stuff is really realistic looking.
Abbreviation, what is that?
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have seen that commercial with Matthew McConaughey. I don't know what the product is for. Maybe it's Experian or something.
Yeah, I forget.
But that whole commercial is AI. It's not actually him. It's just his voiceover, but it all looks like him.
Yeah.
So if you see it, it's pretty interesting. But that just kind of shows you what it looks like.
I just want to ask a question.
Sure.
What you said about the voice, because one, I don't know if it's not the choice, it's the other, whatever I have, that they have me as voice, your voice has been recognized. Can somebody pretend that is my voice?
Yeah.
So then that's no good.
Exactly.
That's why you said something important before. You said, I don't have the phone, I let it go to voicemail.
No, this I was called. Oh, yeah, you're right. If I'm calling, yeah, you're right.
Right, so it's important
Yeah.
to let, if you don't recognize the number, don't
Right.
pick it up.
Another thing I just want to add on to that, when you get a call and they claim to be from Medicare, Social Security, your bank, your credit card company, anyone, they could even say, oh, this is Con Ed and we missed a payment or we haven't received your payment. Tell them, okay, give me a few minutes, I'll get back to you. Call the company directly, call your bank directly, verify first. Yeah,
Yeah, so Michelle kind of led into this one, government, right? This is probably the biggest one.
yeah.
Medicare especially, IRS especially, man, people love to be the IRS. They'll say you didn't appear for jury duty, Social Security, Medicare benefits have been suspended, owe back taxes, problem with your return. Again, you can avoid prosecution, deportation, whatever it is. Again, within 24 hours, that's that urgency again, right? They want you to act real quick. Payment must be made by wire transfer. Gift card is probably the biggest one. I'll share a story that affected somebody my age with gift cards. It was pretty interesting. Bank check, cryptocurrency. So the IRS will only communicate with you by mail, usually, if there's something.
Right, right, that's right.
Yeah, I'm sure, sorry, I know you guys are online. I haven't really gotten to you guys. But yeah, the IRS will only reach you by
mail.
Yep.
Mhm.
So interesting enough with the gift card thing, this was going back to my college days. There was this was our interns.
Okay.
I did this same presentation with our interns who were just graduating college. And so this gentleman who was just graduating, he worked at a place called Rick's Saddle Shop over in Manalapan, New Jersey. And so he just started, he got an email from his boss asking him to go get gift cards. He's like, gift cards, what? So he didn't think twice about it. He went to Target, started buying them. The cashier's like, what are you buying these for? And the gentleman was like, oh, I'm buying it for my boss. He said I need to get him right away. You know, he's got a meeting he's got to go to. So the cashier's like, I don't think so. You better check that email again.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you guys online too have had this experience, but people in the retail setting are getting a lot smarter about asking people with gift card transactions.
Mhm.
Like I know I went to ShopRite and I bought gift cards for Christmas, and you know it was almost $500 worth, but
Mhm.
you know it's for family members. But you know they actually made me pull out my ID.
Yes. me too.
To
Absolutely.
buy these gift cards, right? Because
Yeah.
the scams are just so prevalent now.
Mhm.
So, you know, although yes, this is like a senior seminar, this affects everybody,
Everybody, every age group.
you know.
Mhm.
You guys just happen to be targeted more specifically than most people,
Right.
unfortunately.
We're also from a culture, seniors, where we're more trusting,
Yeah.
Especially,
more
yeah.
believing in people
And more giving.
and more giving.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We wanna help, but now we have to like take a step back to this modern world.
And I think that's why people do it even more for
Right.
seniors, because they know you guys are a little bit more trusting and giving,
Right.
like you said,
Mhm.
which is a real shame, in my opinion. I think that's horrible.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that's the reality that we live with now.
Yeah.
It's horrible. So tech support, this is a big one.
My mom actually fell for this about a year ago on her Apple. She was on her iPad and she received some kind of a pop-up message and they were perpetrating to be Apple. So they said, please call us. And she called them and she made a mistake. She shared her password, her credentials to get online. After she told me what happened, there's a way you can get your computer cleaned. If you go to, say, Best Buy or something, they'll wash it out. They'll make sure there's no malware or any kind of virus in there. But be very cautious if you receive any pop-ups or anything, or they're claiming tech support, they can help you fix your computer. Be mindful of that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know this happened to my mother too. We use Chewy because we have 3 cats at home and one's a diabetic, so we have to get like the special food for her. Yeah, she's like the kitty that will live forever. She's definitely loosed up her 9 lives. Good.
Yeah, I was gonna say one time, luckily I have an Apple, what do you call that, whatever,
iPad?
laptop.
Okay.
And I was using my computer and I got this message from Microsoft,
Mhm.
but it had the, you know, the label, the flag. And it said, call this number, we'll help you right away, you cannot get into your computer. And I think I couldn't really open my, you know, do work on it, I couldn't open it.
They locked your computer.
Yeah, and I don't know, there was something about the number, and I think I got the messages twice.
Mm.
And I said, there's something here that I was getting scared about, because I'm not computer savvy.
Mhm.
So I didn't know what to do, but luckily, sometimes I have to go into the city. So I went into Grand Central, they have the app store, the Apple
Yeah.
store
Mm.
there. And then you checked it and they said, no, this was a scam, but I said, well, they
Excellent.
had the little window, the
Right.
flag. And they said, even still with the flag, you have to be so careful.
Sandy,
So important to share that information when you see it, tell somebody, don't be
Yeah.
ashamed,
Right,
talk
right.
about it, yeah.
Somebody
Yes,
online,
I received this exactly word to word from Apple a week ago. The same thing on iPad. Apple flashing, you have a virus, you have to call. I was rescued because the people doesn't speak actually English. It was very bad, like Indian or I don't know what kind of English. I couldn't recognize them. I tell them, okay, I will call you back. That's all, call Apple. I found the real number. It was not real number, Apple. I call real number and they tell me they opened the case. Do not worry, it's a scam. Guys, be careful about it. It's just flashing message. You cannot get rid of this. You don't know, you get panicking, you're on this virus. It was horrible.
Right.
yeah, well, you make a good point. You said that they want you to act fast, right? And that's what we've been talking about.
Yes,
They
exactly.
want you to act on that emotion, and that's what they're looking
Yeah.
for.
Another good point was that you called Apple to report it and let them know about it.
Yes, they open the case, they told don't worry. And always, when even you go look on Apple real number, the first number was not real even online. When you go you have to go on Apple side or whatever, Google side and find on their real side their number.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, good
Good
point.
story. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing.
You're welcome.
So charity scams, unfortunately, people like to pose as charities. I think this is the most sinister out of all of them.
Mhm.
Again, urgent plea for humanitarian help, right? So we've got two wars going on, right? We've got Israel
And
and
Ukraine.
and
Russia,
Ukraine
yeah.
and Russia, right? So there's a lot of foreign chaos going on right now, we'll just say, right? So there's going to be people acting like the UN or
Yeah.
whoever asking for aid, right? And they very well could just be somebody asking for money, right?
Yeah.
Again, pressure to make an immediate decision, right? Give me the money right now, I need it right now, and send it overseas for the aid. Quasi legitimate, so it's gonna look pretty real, but it's not. A little more than sad story, carefully choose a name, right? So I like to think of ASPCA, right? We've all seen those commercials with the animals, right? They touch our heart. People, scammers especially love to touch on that stuff, right? So they're gonna pose as ASPCA and say, hey, like, we're trying to help animals,
Mhm.
give us this money now. So-
My dad keeps giving money to a pig farm, and I questioned him. I said, Dad, I don't know that this is a legitimate charity, but he's trying to help save animals. So you
Right,
have to
so
be
they're
really
trying to
careful.
plan the
But
emotions.
this charity navigator, before I send it to a charity, like I'll read about something, you
Yes.
check this charity navigator and give you a rating.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe if you could share that with everybody,
Yeah.
so they can check it. You want to say something?
No, I was just gonna say, I remember years ago, and I haven't seen it anymore, they used to have somebody from Nigeria. They were constantly saying, I've been either kidnapped or I'm trapped, or I can't get back to my country, or
Mhm.
something or other. One of them may have been a prince or a princess or
Yeah, I was just
whatever.
gonna say, it's usually a
Right,
Nigerian
and that was
prince.
constant,
Yeah.
and I remember I was still working, and in my job, they used to say, do not open those at all, it's really
Yeah.
a scam. Because the first time I opened it, I was scared too, thinking the poor thing. But then in my job, everybody was getting it, and they said, no way. But I haven't seen them after a while, but they were out there for like a
Thank
good
you.
I remember
2 years,
those,
maybe.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I still get them.
That's funny. I read that scams are like viruses. New ones keep popping up and then old ones resurface. So although that might have happened many years ago, it might come back again, right? It's like a virus.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I check with the.
can I ask a question? Hello?
All the
Oh,
time.
hold on one second.
The Better Business Bureau, I
Uh-huh.
check with them with these charity people, and they will tell me if it's legitimate or if it's
Yeah,
not.
good.
Yeah,
Good.
Excellent.
So you're
Yeah.
checking with a trusted source.
yeah, yeah.
Go ahead. What was your question?
When you start giving people charity, you send checks, etc., and they just sell your name to all the other charities. So there's like no end to it. Next thing you know, you open your mailbox and it just filled with all these letters from various charities, and there's no end to it. Is there any way to stop that?
I don't know. That's a good question.
But I'm sure that other people have that experience as well, you know.
Possibly, when you do donate to a legitimate charity, maybe you can do it anonymously. That might be an idea.
But if you send them a check, it's hard to do it anonymously.
Yeah, I get your point.
That's
Well, I
interesting.
said-
I've never.
Yeah,
I tell them, don't sell my name to anyone else, else I would stop donating to you.
Oh,
Right.
so there you go. Maybe you should threaten them.
I'll stop donating.
Tell them the
to
money
you.
will stop flowing.
Right.
A friend of ours died, and the wife said he always gave well. I keep on getting from all over, and I called them, I said, I never got so many from all the charity to stop it, and they told me it's gonna take from 3 to 6 months, because these envelopes are printed, so I'm gonna keep on getting all this junk from the Wounded Warrior.
right.
But I had to do it because was an old friend, that's what they want, right?
Yeah. That's a good, I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
So yeah, just tell them you're gonna stop sending money and then maybe they'll stop. So then we're gonna talk about investment scams. So again, this is big in our world for especially banking. Anything described as risk-free is not risk-free. There's risk with investment, always, always, always. Above average return, right? So like you guys have heard of Ponzi schemes before, something similar to that. Media purchase, again, we're going right back to that emotion, that act fast. Fees or commission ignored or obscured, right? Because usually your broker's gonna want a cut of whatever investment you put your money into, right? So if they're saying they're gonna waive it,
Right.
something's not right.
Yeah, if you're gonna deal with an investment company, go to a trusted, reputable, recommended firm that's been around many years. Go to your bank. We have one, it's called Nest Egg. The advisors are fantastic. We know they're legitimate. So don't just go to anybody that you don't know or trust, or someone,
Right, it has to be a trusted source. And your banking is a perfect place to start. Contractor scams, I don't really see this one too much, do you?
This would be more like a fly-by-night. So if you need some work done on your home, your apartment, and they'll knock on your door and they'll say, okay, I'll fix your plumbing for you. I need the money up front or something like that. They'll take your money and then they'll never make good on their work. So again, use somebody that's reliable and trusted, someone that you know.
You know what? Actually, I'm just thinking back now. I live at the Jersey Shore. And I'll tell you, when Sandy happened, Hurricane Sandy in 2012, my grandparents have a beach house. And there was a ton of this going on because the FEMA money was just flowing. Nobody was asking questions. So what's happening was all these contractors were taking all this money in and they never did the work that they were gonna promise to do. Because the devastation was just horrible down there. So yeah, the FEMA money was just flowing and none of the contractors were doing any of the work that they said they would do. So what happened was 5-6 years later, a lot of these contractors ended up getting sued or they got locked up for fraud. Because they promised to do all these jobs on these houses and they never did. Because what happened was the people got the FEMA money and they gave it right to the contractors. I think that was the deal they had to do. I don't remember.
Right.
But yeah, this happened quite a bit. So any type of, now I'm just thinking, any type of natural disaster, this would probably be pretty prevalent. Yeah. So how do we spot a scam, right? So
I'm gonna share some information with you before you leave here. It's gonna give you all the possible scams that we talked about. And I think it's not if it hasn't happened to you already, it will happen. So this is great that we were here today, and we'll give you this information, and then we'll also talk about what to do if you become victim of a scam, who to call, what action to take, steps that you can take. Sorry, Trey, go ahead.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we basically talked about this already, right?
Right.
Action, secrecy, money needed up front, hard to track payment methods. is, right? Pretty straightforward. So how do we build our defense, right? We want to be suspicious. We want to question people, assume that insistence on secrecy is a ploy, confirm the stories on the offers of charities independently. I like what you said about the Better Business Bureau, and you said about that website.
Charity navigator.
Yeah, check it with a trusted source
Mhm.
before you. The same thing when you go to send money, right, through PayPal or Venmo or Zelle. Make sure it's going to a trusted source before you just, send the money. Check your privacy settings. Do any of you guys have social media at all? No. Okay, so that one really wouldn't apply. But maybe just check to see what information is online. And see what's out there, just so you know.
Social media, you're talking about Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram,
Right.
And what we
LinkedIn,
saying
Twitter.
about privacy, that's like a button or something.
So on Facebook, I know, because I use it, you can actually go into your settings, and if you're not friends with somebody,
Right.
you can set it up where like they really can't see anything about you unless you friend them.
Right.
Whereas, and then, you can adjust that accordingly to however your preference is.
Mhm.
I set mine to where like people can't see anything unless they friend me or they're friends with me.
Mhm.
Same with any other social media, same
I
type
have
of thing.
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I've never used it, but I know a ton of people who do use it. So just check the privacy settings on there and make sure that your number's not free flowing.
We did register on the phone, calling. Now we don't get that many, but I'm gonna do it online. So you do it on what? www.
Do not
Do
call.
not call
gov.
.gov.
Right. And
Right.
the one on top is what?
Oh, I don't know what that one is. dmachoice.org. It limits your junk mail.
Can we just write this down?
Yes.
That's fine.
Right.
Can I just add something?
Sure.
Sure.
With the do not call,
Mhm.
I don't understand, I've registered and I still get plenty of scam. I mean, it's quieted down for a little while, but the scam calls have started. And thank God for caller ID. I think every senior should have caller ID, because if it says scam, don't pick it up. Just let it ring. And hopefully they'll give up.
Mhm.
Right. All that
Yeah.
you said.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how, well, actually, I think my number's on there.
I mean, I'm on the registry, but they call anyway. So I don't know what the registry
Should.
does.
I don't know either.
They get your phone. They get your phone number. That's what they get.
Yeah, if they want it bad enough, they'll get it.
Right.
But at least that's some type of
level,
layer of
right.
protection, right? Again, I almost said maybe it's starting up again, I don't know, but at least this is some type of layer of protection, right, rather than
Mhm.
nothing. And you made a good point about the caller ID. That's really important, so you understand who's calling you and you know who it is. If you don't know, like you said, I love your point, let it go to voicemail, don't
Mhm.
answer the phone.
Can I ask a quick question? I don't
Sure.
know, maybe you are planning to cover it anyway, but I'm really getting tired of, like, it seems like in some cases, every 3 months or twice a year, my credit card gets hacked. And of course, they don't hold you responsible for any of the hacked things. But what I don't like, then if you have everything, which I do on automatic payments, then you have to go back and it literally takes days. And there's always something you forgot. And then they come after you like, oh, they might even charge you extra fees because you forgot to change to the new credit card number. What is there anything we can do to protect ourselves against that?
You wanna speak to that?
Where are you, you have to look at where you're using your credit card, that maybe your information is being compromised. Is that any possibility?
Well,
Or
I
maybe,
think you just
yeah.
asked a brilliant question, because I was so happy I got to spend Christmas. I was gone for 3 weeks in Sweden with my godsons, who I hadn't seen since before COVID. Beautiful, right?
Cool.
Only
Yeah.
thing, that's where all the scams happen. Two of them were from India, one was from Ireland. And then as soon as I came back, it stopped. And by the way, it was a very minor amount of money. They were for like $3 each. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was just, that was a very good point. So I'm just wondering if we're taking a risk when we travel, and we should maybe bring you know, I don't know, not that great of a credit card, but I guess the problem, and maybe use one that doesn't have all those automatic payments on it, you know? What is your
That's-
thought?
Yeah, so two things with that. First thing, I would always use a credit card if you go overseas. And with that, Priscilla, you said that was a credit card?
Yes, it was a
Okay.
Chase Sapphire, which is a good
Yeah,
card.
so- Yeah, good. So always use a credit card when you travel.
Yeah.
Because you're using the bank's money, not your money.
Mm.
So if they, especially, if you're using your debit card, wherever you shop, when you put your debit card in and they get that, that is your banking information, right? That's a direct access to your checking account. So with a credit card, you know, at least Priscilla, they took the bank's money, they didn't take your money.
That's
Mhm.
true.
Um,
That's true.
second thing, what was I gonna say about that?
Oh, using the debit card. You're talking about using the debit card and would have the your bank's information by you using it.
Yeah, that was it. I forgot.
You
what
can
else.
also, when you're traveling, first off, my bank, we don't allow any foreign transactions. We block all foreign companies from debiting your account. So in order for you to make a purchase or travel overseas, you have to contact the bank and let them know your travel dates ahead of
Right.
time. Okay, and then we'll allow those transactions to occur within that specific time period. And when you come back, we put the block back on your account.
Which is,
Um,
I just want to throw out there in case, because Chase is a big bank, right? They
Yeah.
told us, they sent us, I even talked to them, oh, don't worry, we're not doing that anymore. You don't have to notify us when you're traveling foreign. And now I'm like, guess what? I'm always going to let you know because
Yeah.
Yeah,
look what happened.
Inquire with the bank if they set up text alerts. I know every time I use my card, I will get an email or an alert that the card is used. So see if you can set that up with the company.
Thank you. Good advice.
oh,
Yeah.
Priscilla, I just came to me what I was gonna say. So you said they were small transaction amounts, right? So
Yeah.
what they were probably doing
Yes.
was checking to make sure that that card would actually work. So
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen this a bunch of times. They use it for $3.50, whatever.
Right.
And so they know if they can access that, they're gonna try for a bigger transaction.
Mhm.
So that's probably what they were getting ready to do, to be
They're
honest with you.
Thing or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. And I heard about this thing called a keylogger. Is that very common? In other words, somebody has some kind of device. They can tell what your I guess when I'm thinking when you put your PIN in or whatever, they can know what that is. Is that a common scam these days?
Are you talking about on an ATM machine? Or are you
Yeah.
referring to your computer?
Well, either I guess either one. Yeah.
So if your computer has ever been compromised and they install a virus on there or malware or something like that, they can record all the keystrokes that you make. And that would mean at that point, if you suspect that that has happened to you, you need to have your computer cleaned out.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Because in other words, otherwise you can't change your password on every single account you have that might be on that computer, right? Which is what you would have to do otherwise. Yeah. Okay, thank you. This is really informative, you guys, isn't it? Yeah, so many ways. Thank you so much for your answers. I appreciate them.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you, Priscilla, for
I
the
just want to
questions.
add one common ATM scam that's been happening in Riverdale that's been reported. I don't know if you read about it. So you'll go to the ATM, you'll put your card in, and someone will come in the lobby either behind you. And then they'll throw an ATM card on the floor and they'll say, ma'am, you dropped your card. So now you get confused and you're like, I dropped my card. So you go to pick up your card and they take your real one and off they go.
Oh.
And by the time you realize it's way too late, they already start using it. So be careful when you're in an ATM. If there's somebody in there, I don't go, I wait until they leave and just be mindful of your surroundings. Yeah.
But wouldn't they still need to put in the,
Some places you can bypass it.
yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately. So what do you do if this actually happens to you, right? Don't be embarrassed or afraid. You know, you got to speak up. Tell someone you trust. That's probably the biggest thing. Tell a family member, tell whoever, somebody you trust.
Mhm.
Biggest one, report it to the bank, right? Can't say that enough. Have a good relationship with your bank so they can recognize these signs. Contact any police or federal agencies so that they can tell other people like Michelle just told us about this scam that's very
Yeah.
local to this area. I'm sure that happens.
Yeah, we do,
probably.
you know, when someone does report to us that they're a victim of a scam or identity theft, the police, they perform an ongoing investigation, and we have a security department that will work with the police and do our best to, you know, catch these criminals, I guess you could
Do
say.
they ever catch these people?
They do. We get, yeah,
We were in Italy one year and we were at a restaurant and I know that they took the credit card. So then when it does, this is maybe 25, 30 years ago. So after we got, you know, you didn't have this computer stuff.
mhm,
After the American Express bill, they had charged $7,000 in
mhm.
lead or something.
Wow.
So American Express, you know, was responsible, but how did it happen?
Mhm,
Good question.
yeah.
Yeah. So just a little synopsis of what we went over. It's already, that's been an hour already. Monitor your account, so check your statements, make sure everything that you're transacting is what you're actually transacting. Like Michelle said, with that check that goes in your account, make sure the money that's coming in is actually from legitimate sources that you trust. Why, you know, for example, if large amounts of cash are leaving, suggest giving a person you trust access to your account, if it ever comes down to
It's
that.
always good to do that ahead of time, like, if you don't have someone in your family or, it is good, recommended that there is someone else that can help you if you need it with your finances, whether that be a POA, on a power of attorney, on your account. You could go into the bank, you could ask them for that, have someone that you trust help you with that.
Have it set up before something happens.
Before
It's the
something
biggest thing.
happens, right?
want
Because
to
once
prevent-
something does happen, sometimes it's a little bit too late, you know?
And then, you know, get referrals from licensed brokers or registered investment advisors, right?
Yeah.
Legitimate sources, like we said.
Right.
So I think that concludes.
I just wanted to share, can I just share a quick story?
Sure.
Yeah.
This was several years ago. I had put my rent check into one of those blue mailboxes, which was a huge mistake. I trusted the mailbox. In the meantime, somebody must have gone in. They say they take these wire hangers, you know, from the dry cleaners and put gum on the end of it. And somehow my check was stolen and cashed. But I went to the bank, of course, and the police station and reported it. But now I go directly to the bank, to the post office itself. And I just don't have the convenience of putting you can't put something important like that in a mailbox anymore.
Yeah,
If they go in there with a hanger and gum, I mean, that's crazy. The other thing I wanted to ask is, a week ago, I mailed my daughter a check. Now, how long, she still hasn't received it. How long do I wait before I put a stop on it?
Put a stop. If you're unsure and it's been that long, put a stop payment.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any chance that the Zoom people can receive this information you're giving out on paper? Like, can Margie send us that over Zoom?
Yes, I will leave that with her and she can share that, I guess.
Yeah, this presentation was recorded too, so you
Yeah.
guys can go back and watch it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions, comments, concerns, statements?
Thank you for being here, you guys.
Yeah,
of
This
course.
is really an eye opener and it's nice sharing information with each other.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
So any way we can help, that's what we're here for.
Mhm.
You know? So.
Come back with part two.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys online for attending.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.